Hey everyone, and welcome back to another Inariel Legends Dragon Hunt video. Today we're following up on yesterday's video where we kind of went over Sarah's kit. So I've since pulled enough copies to get her to Immortal, and we also have the ability to look at her weapon now. So first things first though, they did change her multipliers. This was not here the other day. Her multipliers from the other day was like 640, and now it's 900% if you combine the attack and the armor. They've also done some, some changes to her trait effect upgrades as well. So she's gotten even better. The things that I went over yesterday, very similar to today, except some tweaks to, the values of what she's either reducing in damage, bonus damage, and multipliers. So I don't need to go over her kit again, but I will talk about her weapon. Okay, so one of the things that I was mentioning yesterday was we don't know what her weapon's going to bring, because in her kit, it doesn't have any kind of healing, it doesn't have any death immunity. But if we look at her weapon, you will see as we go through this that on rank 6, which is a bummer that everything's rank 6, but it is true, she does have kind of a death immunity. So very good. Very, very good. This weapon is something that I think makes her extremely strong. I don't know if she's as strong as Guan Yu. I would still say Guan Yu's probably a little bit stronger, but without me testing this, it's not proven. But on the surface, it just seems like Guan Yu being able to repeat all of this, repeat his death immunity that's on his kit, I'm assuming it's going to be a little bit better than Sarah's weapon, adding death immunity. But anyway, so it increases her damage. The very first weapon that you get will increase the damage of her charge reverse flash, which is her active ability, where you stack a bunch of these layers of kinetic energy, and then you're doing, damage based on the amount of stacks that you have from that. So that's her first upgrade. Her second upgrade is the kinetic energy granted by normal attacks is 4 stacks for every normal attack, which is really good because each time that you stack up your kinetic energy, you're doing more damage, and you're activating that kind of stomping ability that Sarah has that does kind of the AoE damage from her active. Okay, so for her rank 4, this is kind of confusing. But what I think this means, because if you read this, it's just like, this is not English. But what I believe this is this is a separate form of stacks. So every time that you kill somebody, or anytime you activate your charge reverse flash ability, you increase your damage by 3%, and it goes up to a stack of 6%. So I believe it's 18% increase in damage for every 2 enemies you kill, or every time you activate the charge reverse flash ability. So that's what I think that is. So what that means is you have a 10% increase in your damage on the first upgrade, you get additional stacks on the second upgrade, and then your damage can go up to 18% additional damage depending on how many times you're activating your charge reverse flash or defeating enemies. And on top of that, the charge reverse flash also gathers additional damage based on the amount of stacks you have. And the new wording in here, which again I think is off, it says damage dealt to timid enemies increases by 15%. I'm almost positive that this is cowardice, not timid. So anyway, that's what that is. Now the rank 6 is the big one. So it says when Sarah's HP falls below 25% for the first time, this is why she's a little bit worse than Guan Yu. Guan Yu's is on his actual kit, so it's something that can repeat again. But back to Sarah here, when her HP falls below 25%, she goes into a protected state for a second and a half, removes all control effects. When she's in that state, she's immune to all damage, and she restores 3% of her lost HP every quarter of a second. So that means that she's gaining 18% of her lost HP back and then gains super armor. So on top of that, it says each stack of enhanced kinetic energy, this is the thing that you're, receiving from her charge reverse flash here. And if you have the second upgrade on the weapon, your normal attacks give you 4 stacks. So each stack of energy that you have extends the duration of the protected state, which is that 1.5 seconds, by an extra 0.25 seconds up to 3 seconds, which is nuts. So I believe what they're saying is it can be a maximum of 3 seconds and not 4.5 seconds. If it's 4.5 seconds, that is just absolutely crazy. 4.5 seconds in this game is like an eternity. 3 seconds is even long. So even at 3 seconds, you're gaining 36% of her health back. So this is a fantastic upgrade to Sarah's weapon. And then if you upgrade her to the invincible state, if you upgrade her to rank 8, it gets even better. But just unlocking this ability to give her death protection is the most important thing. So great weapon. I think that makes her an even better hero. But still, it's really hard to determine whether or not she's better than Guan Yu, right? So anyway, what I have on Sarah right now is Fortification 3 on her weapon. So she is getting that level 20 bonus, which is base stats 6%. She has a 4% crit chance, and she's also getting 4% damage boost and damage reduction. On her gear, she has energy regen rate, which is really nice for her ultimate. Same thing with the energy regen on hit, which is amazing for warriors considering they're getting hit all the time. Same thing on her helm. I got kind of lucky with all this stuff, and then, a useless movement speed. Although, I wouldn't say it's completely useless, but it's not as good as other things. So for her talents, what I have so far for her on the off-road here, like the the items that you can pick off the straight path, is I did get normal attack damage reduction. I kind of needed this right now before her Fortification 6 in Realm of Clouds in order to survive long enough. But once she has that, I think I would choose attack speed. These are just health and attack. This one is crit chance instead of crit resistance. I haven't paid too much attention to how bosses or enemies crit, so I just went with the ability for her to do more damage. On this path, I chose Armor Break over Crit Reduction. Again, I don't know how often enemies are critting. And then here, I chose just raw damage bonus over damage reduction because I want her to do more damage. Right now, I have Benson, Guan Yu, and now her. And in my opinion, Guan Yu doesn't do enough damage to kind of carry as a solo warrior. So I'm planning on kind of using her and Guan Yu together and, be able to just crowd control a lot of the enemies. So that's kind of where I'm at with her talents. And I've been impressed with her so far. I do think that you're going to need that Fortification 6 in order for her to really be in-game content. Because right now in Realm of Clouds, I'm doing okay. I'm on stage 90 on day 1. So it's not too bad. I think the last time I got... Yeah, so I probably got to stage 102. So I'm easily going to beat that this time. And so a big thing is just from my heroes leveling up since then. And then on top of that, I think Sarah being in the team, considering it's a warrior, Realm of Clouds rotation, is really helping. My Holy Crystal Matrix is this right now. But, yeah, she's been pretty impressive. So I've been happy with her. I'm stuck on floor 90, and once I get more of these matrices, I think I'll progress. But I do want to talk to you about her use in Mirage Abyss. So I tried to do Void Rift Stage 19 without any of my pay-to-win heroes, like Benson, who I have Immortal, and then I also have Grace. Like, if you take a look at the leaderboard here, this is my team. It's extremely pay-to-win. I got 2 Immortal, collection heroes in here. And on top of that, only 10 players in the entire game have actually beaten Stage 19 here. So I wanted to try and beat it, but sadly, without Benson, I haven't been able to generate enough damage. I survive okay, but the damage is just not there. But I was able to beat Stage 18, and I am going to talk you guys through that video. But one thing I want to let you know is like how to actually play against this boss. A lot of people don't know this, and Sarah's kit is actually really, really good for this boss, okay? So the first thing that you have to pay attention here is melee heroes are enhanced in this stage. They deal 100% more damage. So melee heroes are warrior heroes, tank heroes, and assassin heroes, okay? So if you were to use, like an Edward or a Dodgy over Betty, you could. If you wanted to use Joan instead of Grace, you certainly can as well. So if you also have ranged heroes, their damage is decreased by 60%, but my Betty is just like one of my strongest heroes, so I bring her anyway. It might make more sense for me to bring, Edward in this case. So the first thing is you get benefit from bringing these, melee heroes because they just do so much more damage. Now, the function of this boss is he has enhanced, armor whenever his little lizard friends are around. So if you kill the lizards, his defense will go down and you're able to generate more damage. Okay? So that's the first thing. The second thing is he will basically target ranged heroes with this ability, which kind of hits hard. So your ranged heroes tend to be a little flimsy, glass cannony. So that's another reason why they're not perfect here. The big one, though, is right here. Yes. So this boss uses this, what's it called here? Dusk Lizard Berserk. Once he has this little orb around him, you need to cast 2 forms of crowd control on him to break this. And if you don't break it, he boosts his attack and his armor. So you're doing way less damage, and he's doing way more damage to you. But as you see here, they even show in the preview, Warren, who's, an SR warrior, and Sarah have crowd control on their ultimate abilities. So you're using 2 forms of crowd control on these ultimates, and it breaks this ability up. So not only is his damage goes down as soon as you do this because you break his shield, so he stops using the ability, and then he doesn't get his attack boost and his armor boost. So that's why Sarah's really good in here, is because she has that form of air kick crowd control on her ultimate. A lot of people don't know that. They kind of just go in here and they just, auto it, and they don't know why they can't beat it. So this is, like I said, a pay-to-win team. I'm not going to show you this team. It can do it pretty easily. But I do want to show you a Stage 18 run with the team that is basically, I think the team that I used was Joan and then Betty here. So all heroes that people can acquire over time with saving up and just focusing on these heroes. Now, Guan Yu, Edward, and Betty all have Fortification 6 weapons. So this is going to take you a while to get here, if you do. But this team here was able to beat Stage 18 And I believe, other than Edward, Sarah was the highest damage output hero, and she is not Fortification 6 weapon. So keep that in mind, you know, whenever you're comparing Betty, who, granted, does have a reduce in damage, because she's a ranged hero, but she does out-damage Guan Yu. So, with that being said, let's jump over that video. We'll talk about the stats, and then I'll get out of here. All right, so here is the run on 18, all right? Now, remember the things that we talked about. So I have Joan in there for healing. We have Edward in there just increasing the damage to try and get enough damage output. So Betty is, again, just one of my strongest heroes, and because she has a weapon at Fort 6, she has Vertigo on her ultimate. So it's another form of that, you know, crowd control, so it can break up that little health drain ability that the boss has. So here I'm just trying to do as much damage as I possibly can. We're killing some of those lizards here with Guan Yu and Sarah. So I'm holding my Guan Yu's ultimate because he's one of the people that has, you know, crowd control in his ultimate. There I kind of canceled it because I'm waiting for the boss to do his little drain. So there's the shield, right? So Guan Yu goes first, and then Betty goes. But if you don't have Betty, you can use Sarah to break that shield. You just have to hold her ultimate. But Sarah goes as well, and you see the shield is broken there. So, again, his attack and armor is not increased. That is the real important thing in that fight, is to stop him from doing that. And he also does this little dash thing. You want to try and get out of the way of that. And it's just kind of rinse and repeat. You keep following him around with your warrior heroes. I'm saving Sarah's ultimate there as well until that shield comes back. There it is. And then you go in and you break the shield again with Guan Yu and Sarah. The crowd control. Crowd control ultimates breaks that shield. And now I'm just kind of chipping his health bar down. But yeah, this is a successful stage 18 run. And, you know, Sarah allows you to do this without, you know, like a Benson type hero. So yeah, I'm pretty happy with that. But anyway, with the run being over there, let's take a look at the stats that came from this. Okay, so here's the stats. As you see right here, you know, our Edward is our highest damage dealer, but right below him is actually Sarah. She's out damaging Guan Yu. And Guan Yu has his Fort 6 weapon. I always thought she was going to outdamage him just from the multipliers, and once she's up to Fort 6, where she's getting additional damage out of that Fortification 4 that we went over with additional stacks of energy and all those things, I think it's going to add probably another 100,000 or million, another million damage on top from Guan Yu. So I think the damage is great. The survivability definitely is not there with Guan Yu. But I think she's a nice kind of addition because you can use Guan Yu's ultimate ability, inflict vertigo on people, and then in the meantime, after the vertigo is gone, you can then use Sarah's ultimate and then basically air kick them back up in the air again. And then rinse and repeat while your back row is kind of just doing damage. So I'm glad that I pulled for her. I think she's one of the best heroes that we've had released, you know, in the past 3 weeks. So if you have Guan Yu, I think she's still worth pulling. If you didn't grab Guan Yu, I mean, you should definitely build Sarah then. So anyway, I hope this was helpful. I wanted to just follow up on my video yesterday and just show some actual stats. But yeah, that's all I got. If you enjoyed the video, like and subscribe, and I'll catch you on the next one. See ya.